Yous are all certainly welcome back to the channel, folks. Keith here from Commander Hoop Celtic. Instead of pop on for the live tonight and have a chat with you. It's been about almost 2.5 months since the last time I was on live. So I said I pop on. I know there's a couple of podcasts on at the moment. And shout out to the Boise Buzz. Shout out to Endless Celts. Shout out to some really good Celtic podcasts. And you know what? They all do a great job. I said I pop on and have a chat. So Lies asked me a lot of questions in the comments, and I feel like I don't get back to you. I either like the comments, I love heart the comments, and I don't reply under it. So it's just a case I'm always busy all the time. I'm not going to sit there typing for days about my opinion, but I could just say it. So get in the comments, tell me what you want to see for the second half of the season, what players you'd like to see brought in, what players you'd like to see go. Let me know if the sound's okay as well. The microphone's right there. And I hope he's like obviously the tops in the background as well. So yeah, kick it off. Obviously Hibs bottled it tonight at Ibrox. Obviously James Nesbitt and Ryan Porteous took score from them, and they were winning at half time and then absolutely bottled it in the second half. So are you surprised with Hibs? I'm not surprised, but I think Celtic will extend this gap. I think it's going to be a 12-point gap or maybe a 15-point gap by the 2nd of January. You never know. Never know. We have a couple of tricky games ahead if he's done on the fixtures. We have Aberdeen on Saturday, return of Celtic up in Pittodrie, 12:30 kickoff at Aberdeen. And then we obviously on Wednesday we have Livingston at home. Then we have St. Johnstone, and then we have Hibs away, and then we'll have a tricky trip to Ibrox as well. So big 3 weeks ahead regards to the league. So much football to be played. It's going to go through the comments. Please do ping a comment and ask me stuff, because there's no point in me waffling on for ages while there's feck all comments coming through. It'll be really appreciated. Tell us where you're watching from and what you think so far this season. The situation with Josip Janovic, situation with Giakoumakis, obviously the Korean striker as well. Let me know in the comments, and I can keep the flow of the conversation going as well. It's absolutely bitter. I haven't done much live podcast since I moved to Glasgow, so I'm going to try to do them once a week. How's it going, Martin? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well over in Belfast. It was great to see Ro had a good show up, Clover had a good show up, and obviously Kieran had a good show up in the Rock as well. I was contemplating coming over 2nd of January for the obviously the event, but you know what, I'm gonna be in Glasgow. There's no better place to be, so looking forward to it. I was out for the last derby in Glasgow, so looking forward to this one as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. But get the comments in, Martin. I know you're a big Celtic fan, you know. Yeah, the absolute shot, big time, Kenny. They absolutely bottled it, 100%. Especially in the second half, like they were just absolutely shy. I was keeping tabs on the game, to be honest with you. I wasn't watching the full game, which was bits and bobs. I was watching the Boise Bus and then obviously making the video as well. So let us know what you think of the World Cup as well. I know. I seen pictures. I was absolutely like, oh, I wish it was that. Maybe next year. I'll go to the gathering. How's it going, Astro Jen? Hope you're well. Hope you're keeping good. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that subscribes to the channel as well. We're rolling to 15,000. So sometimes the podcasts, you know, could be a bit too much. I'm going to start getting more people back on the podcast again. I'm going to get a few people that haven't had on before. Change it around, different dynamics, different opinions about Celtic. You know, it's all about engaging with you, about what you feel. At the end of the day, I don't filter my podcast. I just say it how it is. I don't like this whole, you know, lick up to a certain organisation or don't say something right. You know, just have a laugh. You know, hopefully Argentina will win for Messi. Glad England. Look, I have a Argentina jersey from the 70s. Well, it's the 80s actually, the Cos Sportif jersey. So I'll be wearing that on Sunday. Obviously, where we start the jersey on Saturday for the big game. I'm optimistic that we're going to go to Pittodrie and scalp Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen are obviously being pretty decent this season. You know, touring the table, they're doing quite well. Obviously, Liam Scales can't play because he's going to be on loan there. So Scalesy's doing quite well for Aberdeen. I was saying in the video. Who do you think will score here? I think it'll be a 4-0. Now, look, if it's 1-0 and it's 3 points, that's the biggest thing. Like this is obviously a break. It's been 3.5. It's been 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks now. Well, 4 weeks now since the last time we kicked a bit of football. So yeah, and it was good stuff. We obviously ended the last game with a good win as well. So if Joseph goes, how much do you think he'll go, especially after World Cup? The $1 million question, Martin. Hopefully, as I said, 25 million I'll be happy with. There's talks of obviously Torino throwing a 17 million bid in. 17. I don't think Celtic should entertain it, to be honest. I think that's horrendous. And why would you go to a team that's mid-table in the Serie A? If it was an Inter Milan or it's a Roma or Juve, but like, yeah, cool, no worries, Joseph. You go there, enjoy yourself. Good luck. But Torino, that's a massive downgrade. Like, yeah, they're in a better league, but come on, fucking Torino. Like, the Sheep game won't be easy. They have a decent home record. It never is easy. We go back there last season. We were lucky to get the two wins, the two Jota goals. The two Jota winners. I remember obviously the first one where Adam Montgomery obviously passed over to Jota. The Jota finished it off, and then the second game where Aberdeen gave us a bit of a heart attack. But this day a year ago, Anthony Ralston scored in the 97th minute against Ross County in Dingwall. It's crazy how the years just clicks like that, just gone, absolutely mental. But we're all in a good place now as Celtic fans. This time 2 years ago, we're all fucking fighting each other. Or the way the club has been ran and the way COVID was, it was just a shit time. But a year ago we were in great places, and now we're even in bad places. So things are good. He'll be a big miss, Joseph. And look, we have young Johnston there. Johnston seems like a really, really interesting player. He's always going to wear short sleeves, as he says. Comes across as a badass. Good background. Obviously he knows how big Celtic is. He said it was a dream come true. I know a lot of players will say that because Celtic is a massive club, and it's obviously fan base. But like, I think he's going to be a really good addition to the squad. He's had a lot to learn. The MLS is not near the level as the Scottish League, and some people might laugh from the outside that watch this podcast, say, "Haha, you for real? It's a farmers' league." But the Scottish League is a real physical league. People underestimate it big time. Who do you think is better? That's a bad look. Obviously, Jovanovic has been around the game a bit longer than Johnson. I think that's a bit of a question that you can't really compare at the moment. Even Johnson even said that he has a lot you could take a learn from Jovanovic's style of play, where he gets the ball, trades and stuff like that. I think that's a question where you ask me that in about 2 or 3 years' time. Let Johnston settle. Let him get in the door, see how he gets on. You never know. He might start a derby game. He's going to be eligible to play from the 1st of January. We have Kobashi as well. Look forward to seeing him play. The way he's been in the World Cup. Well, I was going to say not Mikey Johnson, Alistair Johnston or Josef Jovanovic. Who are we talking about? Because Jovanovic, his performance against Brazil in the World Cup was fantastic. Obviously, a couple other games he was pretty decent as well. So I thought he played well against Canada, even though the first half is a bit all over the place. But look at footballers can't be always consistent. Every footballer has their pros and their cons, and Jovanovic will go for good money. I think he will go for perhaps 25 million. I know some people have boasted on said 50 million. I think 50 million is over exaggerating. Like, if he was 21 and he had them performances, we could be talking about a 50 million player. But he's 27. He has a contract until May 2026, the same as Giakoumakis. And there's a player I want to talk about. Like Giakoumakis, this is a guy that we got from a relegated team that dropped out of the Eredivisie. He was the top goal scorer for VV Venlo, and he was, prolific the second half of last season. and this is a player we need to keep. You know, I'm a big fan of Giakoumakis. If it's a case that he got rid of an agent because his previous agent was trying to store moves to get him to another club, or he's not happy at Celtic, he came out and said it on record that he's pretty happy at Celtic. So why the hell would he move? I know I've obviously talked about it on the channel that he's been linked to Saudi Arabian teams, his clubs in Germany sniffing around. It's all talk, you know, actions speak louder than words. And if it's a case that he does go somewhere, I wish him the very best. But I can't see Giakoumakis going in this window, to be brutally honest with you. I think he's a lot to make a point at Celtic. I think he's, you know, he has that badass mentality, you know, physically so good and so strong. You know, he wins a lot of free kicks as well. And we need to start utilising them free kicks and start converting goals from it, you know. Giakoumakis needs to stay. And I think I'd be quite disappointed if Celtic were to get rid of him in this window. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere, to be honest. I just think it's all speculation. I think it's all talk. And I know I talk about it on the channel. That's my job to talk about this kind of stuff, because you read it as well and you want to know fan opinion. And that's, you know, some great shorts behind me. Oh, yeah. You know, I need to, obviously, I only have the away one this year because I've obviously done a move to Glasgow. So, I'm gonna, when I get a few quid together, I'll get the home jersey. I'm not a big fan of the tour jersey, to be honest, which is I just think it's the material and it looks pretty shit. I think it's a nice jersey, but it's the material, you know, that way. But obviously my favourite top out of all them jerseys behind me is the Smell the Glove one. I got that as a gift a couple of years ago. It's the real deal. It's not one of these AliExpress jobs, you know, and there's nothing wrong with the, you know, remake jerseys, but yeah, that jersey, obviously the green one there, that was my last jersey I bought in the Celtic shop in Dublin before it closed its doors, unfortunately. And that was down to obviously Brexit and stuff like that. So yeah, good times ahead, folks. Good times ahead. As I said, this year coming, I'm going to try to get more podcasts, and I'm going to try to get more, try to get a famous face on it too, if I can. It's just obviously with the move, it's been difficult to keep this podcast up. And as I said, I don't mind sitting there and literally doing it for like 5 minutes for recording and slapping it up on the channel, and he's all gives his opinions. And I just want to read this comment here. Look, at the end of the day, you know, Ian Beale got his first win, you know. He keeps calling us them, keeps calling Celtic them, and leave him to it. You know, he's looking for a bit of store up, and I'm not bothered by him, you know. I'm really not bothered. I'm not going to say the league is in the bag already. The league, if we beat them on the 2nd of January, I will come out and say the league is in the bag. For the time being, I'm not saying it, because there's still a lot of football to play before that game. I just want to recap on that. We have Aberdeen away, Livy at home, St Johnstone at home on Christmas Eve, and then we have Hibs away, and then we have the game in the shit pit. So a lot of football to be played. So you see what happens, you know. Current away, sold out officials. Like, great channel. Oh, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much, Michael. Appreciate all the love hearts. As I said, tell us where you're watching from. Anything you want me to discuss on the channel tonight would be fantastic. What's in the tea? It's just own brew. Just own brew. It's just not really in the mood to be drinking tea. I've had about 4 cups of it today, and I don't want to drink any more. You know. So yeah, get the comments in. As I said, there's no questions due on this podcast. I think we've played well the first half of the season. You know, Europe was a learning experience for us. You know, we go back to obviously the group we had at the start. When the draw was made, we were all quite confident that we were going out of the group. But this is a crop of players that majority of them never tasted Champions League football, you know, and it's good to see that it's a learning curve, and hopefully we'll have Ange next season and we can win the league and focus and actually make an account for ourselves in the Champions League. It was unfortunate that we didn't get the Europa League, but at the same time, it's a benefit that we didn't get the Europa League. I know some people will be like, huh? Because we have a treble to compete for. And I don't know, some people might turn around and say we could still win a treble while we're in Europe. I think it's the Europa League is such a hard competition to focus on, and the bread and butter is the league, and that's what we want to be winning. I think they are having the thoughts of playing an additional two or 4 games in Europe, and that there's stronger teams in that competition that you could go all the way, but we didn't get there, and there's always another time. But I'm glad we're not in the Europa League, to be honest, because as I said, we don't need the distraction. We need to focus on and finishing with getting 2 in a row. Getting 2 in a row is more important than going to run in Europe and playing 4 games and getting dumped out and getting injuries and players are tired. It's not for me. Fellow Northsider, the Dubs. Who do you think is a better striker? It's hard to say because Kyogo obviously offers pace. He offers fantastic finishing. I know he's obviously missed a lot of shots this season, but Kyogo is unbelievable. Giakoumakis is a more physical player, different game, different style. It's for certain games you want to put Giakoumakis in, like the likes of these Livy games and Aberdeen games, you put them in, really strong physical sides. Kyogo, he's been brilliant. He has been brilliant since we signed him, a couple of hat-tricks and stuff. It's really hard to say. I don't like picking between. I think they're 2 different style of strikers, so I don't really have an answer there for that one. Thoughts on the new signings? Will they get a spot in the team? I think right back, you look at Ralston at the moment, he's been quite consistent in the league. Obviously Jovanovic has played most European football. It's hard to say. I think Johnston really has to. It depends on Jovanovic. Jovanovic goes in this window. It's obviously gone between Ralston and Johnston. I think Ange will eventually bring Johnston in. He might start the Scottish Cup game against Greenock just to give him the experience, start wheeling minutes in. Like, he's had to have a full year of football and a World Cup in there as well. I know people might say don't be using excuses, but you don't want your players burned out as well. And we've seen what happened with Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate was burned out. We go back to that game against Rangers in the cup semi-final, and Rio Hatate was just lost on that pitch. Compared to the game he had against them in February, where he was unbelievable, absolutely outstanding. What a performance. His debut against Hibs, he was just absolutely out of this world. So yeah, interesting. Interesting. You go back to bed with it. Blocked. Good luck. Get out of here. Brog ball has landed. Love the channel. Thanks very much, Tony. Very informative. I get that a lot. I'm not that type of Celtic vlogger that, I unfortunately don't do the fan media. I do the most important thing, which is working 9 to 5 and, putting the food on the table, paying the bills. My time will come, folks. My time will come. This channel has grown, as you see. This is the start of something good. And, you have all backed me since day one. So, as I said, I'm not afraid to walk away from a topic or talk about a particular player. Like, I'll just give you my honest opinion, as some people like to call it, a pub talk. How's it going, Ro? I hope you're doing well. Fantastic show up in the Rock Bar. Hopefully I will get to meet you this year coming up. Hopefully I'll get you off to Glasgow as well. I'd love to sit down with you, on the Shagger sofa, have a chat with you about Celtic. Hope you're doing well up in West Belfast, and yet again, well done on 2 years in a row of the reunions. Good nights. Obviously the boys from Limerick done a great job, /Clare, and it's great to see Kieran put a show on as well. And I'm good they didn't go, man. I was hoping to get to go next year, big time. Would you appear on another pod as a guest? Yeah, I would. Sometimes I feel like I'm in my comfort zone, sitting there just getting stuff asked to me and all. Like, it can be a bit much at times, a bit much at times. Oh, who's at the tip of me? Tony, thanks very much, mate. Is that Australian dollars, is it? Is that Canadian dollars or Australian dollars? Because if it's Canadian dollars, get myself a couple of Tim Hortons. It's been a while. I know, Feed the Bear, it's been a while. I've obviously been busy with the move to Glasgow. over the summer and then going job to job. It's been tough. So I'm back. I'm going to try to do it once a week. I'm going to obviously sit down, evaluate who can get on to the podcast and who can talk decent talk. None of this, 8 Mile stuff where they literally choke 2 minutes into the conversation. So don't be camera shy. Great to see you on. It's great to see you on, Free the Bear. Same with yourself there, HTCC. Martin Healy, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. As I said, get the comments in. My question to you is, and I'm not. I think some Celtic fans probably think I'm jumping the gun with this. How many points are we going to win the league by? That's what I want to ask you. I'm that confident that we're taking the treble this season. And if we don't do it, we don't do it. You got to take a gamble. I'm quite confident we're going to do the treble this season. I know some Celtic fans are saying, "Geez, you're testing fate, Keats." Boy, we have the squad. We have the best squad in the league, best squad in Scotland. Ange has settled the squad. So the Boise bus is a great one. Endless South, I know. Big fan of the Boise bus. I was actually spoke to Russell earlier on Messenger. He's a good lad. Endless Celts are a good team. They've worked hard. These podcasts, they're consistent. They do it on a weekly basis. They've good crack. There's none of this. They've no filter, and it's great to see. And it's great to see you as joining in and chatting to them. And they cover a lot of stuff. And big shout out to Russell and the team. He's done a good job. Russell has obviously made his own podcast, and he has 4 or 5 different nights a week, and that's to do that, to put that behind in the scenes and getting people on and looking up memorable games and memorable moments and talking about certain players. It takes a lot of work. Some people forget about all that. It's all just I don't know what happened there for a second. Need a boys. 20 points, Martin. 20 points. You're going 20 points. I'm going for the magic Neil Lennon. I'm going for 18. I'm going for 18 points. We're going to win this league. I really believe we're going to win it by 18 points. I think a top goal scorer is going to be Kyogo. Most assists, I'm going to go Matt O'Reilly. I think obviously we're looking at the performances of the boys in the World Cup. Maeda had a really good performance in the World Cup. Performances in the World Cup for Japan. Obviously scored against Croatia before they got knocked out in penalties. I thought Aaron Moy played well for Australia. Former Celtic boy, Jackson Irvine, he played well. I didn't know he was at St. Pauli until I looked up. I thought he was still at Hibs for some reason. Carter Vickers only got one game under his belt, and that was against Iran, and he played pretty well. So Carter Vickers is on to big things, as we all know. Carter Vickers is on to big things, and love the team. He's literally excited for Alistair Johnson. I think it's for Canadian football, I think it's opened up the door. Obviously you have Davis. That's is it Davis? That's at Bayern Munich. The Canadian football is obviously striving the last 2 years, obviously getting into the World Cup. The MLS teams are doing pretty well. Obviously Montreal. I know Wanyama came out and said on record as well to the Athletic in the last 24 hours, he thinks Alistair Johnson could be a future captain of Celtic. And that's brave words. And I think that as well. I haven't seen this guy kick a ball yet for Celtic. And I just think the way he speaks, the way he comes across, quite intelligent lad, seems like he has his head on his shoulders. I think we're on to, a future captain if we can get it right, because sadly, the last time I said there's going to be a future captain at the club, which is David Turnbull, it hasn't worked out for David. And I think David Turnbull needs to move away because it just doesn't suit that system. I just think he's too slow. And David Turnbull's after having a bit of a weird career, and I just don't think he's Celtic caliber. I really don't think he's Celtic caliber. And can't wait to see us on Saturday. I've missed Celtic so much. I know. Isn't it just like someone you really, really love, and you've been offshore for weeks upon weeks, and you're dying to see them and give them a big hug? That's what it's like, You're buzzing for it. But that's what it's like, We're all dying to get back in the mix of things, big time. Me and my Barcast wall. How's it going, Anthony? I still think we need a striker. Midfield. I think we're all right midfield. I think Aaron Moyes actually proved the critics wrong. I know Odegaard still has to kind of make himself established in that team. Callum's back in the mix. I think up front, keeper, we've Seacrest for Hart. I think we need to get rid of a couple of keepers. And I know this sounds crazy when I read this out to you, I say this out to you, folks. I honestly believe, I really believe Barkas might be back at Celtic. I think he's played well in the Eredivisie. I think he's had to have like 6 or 7 clean sheets so far for Utrecht. And they're obviously doing all right. I think that they were 6th or 7th in the league last. Could correct me wrong. Conor Hazard, Martin, I know he's a Belfast man. I don't think Conor Hazard's going to have a career at Celtic. I think it's time for Conor Hazard to move on. Even a League One team in England or a Championship team would do him well. He needs to obviously stay in the Northern Ireland fold. He wants to consider himself. But Michael O'Neill's back in that post, and Michael O'Neill done wonders with that team. Unfortunately, I'm saying, but he really did getting them to the Euros. Not bitterness, just being honest. But if Barkas comes back, it'd be the best resurrection since Jesus. Well, look, it could happen. It could happen. I don't want to rule Barkas out because I've seen reports on him, and he's been in that Eredivisie team 3 times already this season. So I wouldn't write him off. I would not write him off. He has came out and slated the club as well in his experience at Celtic. And the thing about Barkas was, it's the same with Yeti, same with Duffy. When they came into the club on this fucking horrendous season that we had, they were all put in the hotel rooms. They're all put in the hotel rooms. Like, we go back to Shane Duffy. Shane Duffy was crucified by certain supporters, and people didn't realise. People were so angry and pissed off that the way the league was gone by basically November, December. But realistically, the biggest point was at the Hibs game, the boy. Shane Duffy got a lot of fucking shy. A lot of shy. And Shane obviously lost his dad that year. He was going through a lot. And I felt sorry for him. I felt like the criticism that he got wasn't right. People that lives in Glasgow were like, oh, you're just picking up from him because he's Irish, blah, 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 and he's Ireland's captain, blah, blah, blah. I just think, the criticism that he got was disgusting. There was no need for it. There was no need for it whatsoever. And okay, he went back to Brighton, done a really good job last season with Graham Potter, and now he's at Fulham on loan. And I wish him the very best. I always remember the game he played against Portugal. It was a year and a bit ago, and he had a fantastic game against Portugal. Ronaldo couldn't get a sniff. So there is potential there with Shane Duffy. It's just, I just think the timing was wrong for Shane, and the timing was wrong. He was dirt. Barkas just was horrendous. But overall, I just think, you look at the goalkeeper situation at Celtic, perhaps Bain to go. I know I sound crazy when I say this. Barkas might come back even as a third choice keeper. If he's getting that game time and he's doing well in the Dutch league, you can't write him off. Stats talk. But I think Conor Hazard will go. I think young Toby has a place at the club. Obviously, he's done great. Joe Hart, lucky to get another year out. Joe Hart's been really good since he came in. I know he's had his dodgy spells with the ball, his feet, and we've been nearly caught out a couple of times with that. But overall, it's been a really decent, a really good signing. Joe Hart, cut the wages in half cut the wages in half to do it. Thanks very much for the donation, by the way, as well. Really appreciate it. Appreciate it. You don't have to, folks. You don't have to donate. If you want to donate, go ahead. Go for a bag of cans. I'm not here to collect the money. I'm just here to have a laugh. I think Bain will be number 1 eventually. And Bain, I don't know. I think he had his spell. I think he done pretty well in the treble season. Done really pretty well to get in that squad. And I always go back to that performance. I know we got beaten on that night, but the performance against Valencia away in the Mestalla, some of the saves he pulled off that night was remarkable. I always remember Scott Bain signing for the club in a Hibs tracksuit. He wasn't even a Hibs player on a permanent basis. He was actually at Dundee. Dundee was parent club. We need to get a keeper like the Croatian keeper. And, I feel sorry for the Croatian keeper. I just think but look, it was against them the other night against Argentina. I thought he's been outstanding in the World Cup. I think he plays for it could be wrong, Dynamo Kiev or Dynamo Zagreb. Haven't really looked them up. It's either one of them. Looks like a really good keeper, and I think he will go for big bucks. I think he's going to be maybe a 40 million keeper. The World Cup has showed a lot of. Look at the Moroccans. The Moroccans were absolutely fabulous in the World Cup. I think the Moroccans done really well, and they were unfortunate to not get a result against France last night. And I felt sorry for them. Would have been the first, Arabic/African country to get to a World Cup final. But they're going to be playing Croatia in the third, fourth place playoff on Saturday. So Jovanovic will have a go against them. And as I said, if you're only starting to watch this channel tonight, minimum we accept for Jovanovic if he does go in this window is 25. I want to see in the comments, do you want to keep or sell Jovanovic? Because I want to know your argument behind keeping him. That's what I want to know, because I've had this conversation with someone today in work, and someone said to me, well, if you keep him and he gets injured, there's your valuation down, because stats talk. And I was like, suppose. So yeah, let's see. Hail Ryan, hope you're well. We need out a striker/poacher. See, that's the thing about football these days. You go out and get like a guy from the Dutch league, or like a Giakoumakis, or do you go out to the J League or the K League, or do you just go for someone that's like a second choice striker or third choice striker in the Premier League? It's an out and out poacher. It's with the Celtic standards, with the budget we're on. Who would you like to see brought in? I know some people have mentioned Shankland from Hearts. I wouldn't like Shankland at Celtic, to be honest. I did want them 2 years ago. I thought when he was banging the goals in for Dundee United at the time. I know he's done well for Hearts, and he's the first player to score a hat-trick against Celtic since years in the league. Thumbs up. Thanks very much. Keep him to the summer at least. See, that's the thing, Martin. You keep him to the summer. If he's not playing on a weekly basis, that's the question where, his valuation, will that go down? That's what the clubs look at stats, and is a case that his agents talking his ear saying, look, you've had a good World Cup. Let's move out Celtic. You've got the Champions League experience now. You've got a league medal. And I was watching his first ever interview with Celtic TV, and he was overwhelmed that he's joined a fantastic club. And I know it's all put on for some fans, but this is a guy we got from Lake of Warsaw, and he came in, free kicks, penalties, fireball performance against Ryan Kent. And it's just, the thing about Jovanovic is it's a final product with him. It's the crossing that I think Ralston has a better final product. The only thing about Ralston is I think his nerves gets on a lot. Like sometimes he thinks he's too composed at the ball, and he's the ball gets pinged to him, and he's just like. But I remember this season he's pulled off some like last minute challenges, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Thoughts on Idaguchi? It's quite sad, because Idaguchi, like. Before we sign him, obviously we all do it. We go onto YouTube and we look up this guy and see what he's made of. And he looked like he was out of the Maeda, the Rio, and the Idaguchi deal. This time last year, I thought Idaguchi was going to be the top boy. I really believed. I thought Idaguchi, I knew Maeda was outstanding. I knew Rio had a bit in him. Rio was kind of, versatile player, left wing back. Left winger, plays up front, play midfield. We had a bit of everything about Rio Atate, and that kind of confused me. But look, where Atate plays now, and he's a fantastic player. And this is a guy that came through the university system of Japanese football, and cracking. And Atate will be a good player. I think Atate, Atate value Rio Atate right now. I'm gonna say a 15 million player right now at the moment. Atate can be, and even the performance against Real Madrid at Celtic Park, the balls he was pinging over, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But Ideguchi, wish him the very best. Hope he goes back to the J League. Gets the performances in that he needs to get back into the Japanese squad. The Japanese squad will be on a new regime, and as the Japanese coach is stepping down, there was obviously talks of Ange going back to Japan for the national team, but Ange is going nowhere for the time being. I think Ange will probably leave in the summer if he win the treble. I know some people were like, well, he's building something here. Why would he do that? I just don't know. There's a video I'm gonna do in the next couple of weeks about Ange, and there will be a split of opinion on it. And I've discussed it with a couple of people, a couple of close friends, and they think I should do this video. One of my friends actually tipped me to do it, and we'll have a good conversation about it. It's a good point. Some people might think it's a bit pathetic, but we will talk about Ange, and he's done a remarkable job. Like he's laying the foundations, and we've won a League Cup in good style. We've obviously won the league in great fashion as well. The results we pulled off, we never stopped. We kept plucking away, even though Rangers looked like they were dominant at one point in the season. Then we obviously took it back. What about Lawwell back in the ballroom? You had a feeling he was always going to come back, didn't you? You had a feeling he was always there. Since the whole Dominic McKay thing, I just think with Dominic McKay gone, I just think Lawwell was always there. Obviously Michael Nicholson has done a decent job. This was a guy that was ripped out by the fans a couple of years back, and he stepped into that role, and obviously they backed the manager. But there's only so much backing you give a man. I can't see Celtic consistently backing Ange for the next couple of years. I think Ange will get fed up with it. Spells even between about October, between September to the end of October, Ange just didn't look like himself. But look, we're 9 points clear. He's still in the helm. What else can you say? Peter Lawwell pulling strings, always has. I'm not a big fan of Peter Lawwell. I know he's obviously balanced the books out over the years and stuff like that, and he's turned down big jobs and stuff. I just think he's not for a chairman, a non-executive chairman. I don't think he's going to engage with the fans like some of the chairmen. I just think he's very hides behind the fucking book. I just think he knew the club made the balls of the boy, and he tried to sell it on Celtic TV that they weren't wrong and stuff like this. It was a fucking job. It was a shambles. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And that's the thing, folks. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy when it comes to whole Ange not being here for long. Ange is on a rolling contract, and yes, the foundations are set out. He's done a bit of work obviously before the window opened. Hasn't even opened yet. But will he be backed in the summer? That's the question. You need to know, like, if we get the Champions League again, are they going to back him with the learning experience? Is it a case that he wins a treble and he might just walk away from it? You don't really know. This guy he's 57 years of age. He's obviously managed internationally. He's managed in the A League, the J League. Clubs will be sniffing around for Ange if we go on to win a treble. And I've had a couple of friends that said they think Ange will stay, like kind of like Martin O'Neill kind of days. Could happen, but I just think modern day football, managers don't stay around forever. They don't stay around forever. And I know Ange, I've watched the clips of him with Never Stop and stuff like that, and he knows the importance of Celtic and stuff like that, mentioning the traditions and the everything about it to build the players up. I just think he will go. And at the moment, we shouldn't even really be thinking about it too much, because we're 9 points clear. We're still in the 2 cups, and we're going to scalp them on the 2nd of January. And if we don't scalp them, we're going to scalp them on the 3rd game or the 4th game. So quite confident. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Other players I think will go. Welch, I'd like to see Welch go on loan. I've said Hibs. I think Hibs would be a good show for for Stephen Welch big time. I think, why not let him go to Hibs, let him get that. I think a loan basis, not an option to buy. Bring him back here, get the valuation up and offload him. I like to see Celtic commit there. I like to see Celtic obviously get Maurice Jans on a permanent soon. I know we've Kobashi there. We're literally calling back for a cent. We were calling for a centre back like literally this time last year, and then we have loads of options. We don't have to. We want Near Beaton's move on, but Near Beaton was playing centre back at one point. How's it going, Jimmy? I hope you're well. Hope you're doing well. Thanks very much for tuning in. That's where they're all from, and if you could pass the message on to any of your mates to subscribe to the channel, there's a share button on the YouTube there. Give that a wee share if you can onto WhatsApp or Snapchat, or even a text message would be appreciated, just to get I want to get to the 15,000, and the only way it is, the content has to keep going up. Simple as that. But come on, we hammered Dundee United 9-0 already this season. We've hammered teams, good scores, and it's not always going to be like that. But I think Aberdeen will be a test on Saturday. We'll go up there, fucking freezing cold. Hopefully the game doesn't be called off. That's to be fair, that the game could be called off with the way that the temperatures is at the moment. Full bottle bookie, too cold to walk. Oh God, I don't drink that stuff. But yeah, hopefully the game's not called off. That's the fear, because we'll be like, oh, we have to reschedule this, like the Livy game, we have to reschedule. So yeah, let's see. Any other players that you want to chat about before I go? The guy that we were looking at, the Egyptian midfielder, Argasha, if I pronounce it wrong, the 26-year-old Egyptian midfielder that plays in Cairo, the guy that's valued at 5 million. There's reports that Besiktas are looking at him, Fenerbahce are looking at him, and then also a couple of MLS teams. So his preferred destination at the moment is the MLS. And look, I think for a player like him that's playing in the Egyptian league, being capped for Egypt 14 times, he's not worth 5 million. He's definitely not worth 5 million. And I think we could go out and get a better player. Look at Matt O'Reilly. We got him for a little to nothing from the AK Dons, and he's been a baller. Matt O'Reilly was a strange signing in January last year, but paid off because obviously Tommy moved on, and Tommy's got a cracking goal the other night for West Brom against Sunderland. Tony Mowbray, that's it. Affect them. At the end of the day, it's all about us. It's all about us being on top, and it's 6 points at the moment. They think they've won the World Cup, but leave them to it. I'm going to jump off now in 5 minutes, but I'm going to try to do this once a week, folks. And I'll write on the community wall as well. If you want me to talk about other topics on the channel, throw them at me. I would like to obviously bring up different topics. If you want me to discuss a former player about that term at Celtic, I've no problem covering that as well, So yeah, it's at 5 more minutes left. Thank you very much to the donations as well. I really appreciate it. Well, I was expecting donations tonight. Overwhelmed. Don't even know. That's the first time I've ever got a donation. So yeah, bag of cans. bag of cans. Get used to them. Yeah, more lives, mate. That's the plan. El Santo Pereira. Sometimes people correct me how I pronounce my words. I know. No one's fucking perfect. I'm glad you enjoyed it, John. 100%. As I said, there's no filter here. I just say how it is. Have a laugh. Bit of banter. How's it going? Quadruple Treble. Great to see you in. I hope you're well. Get a question in there for tonight. As I said, it's no question. Stupid. Once it's Celtic related, we're all living the dream big time. As I said, I'm really appreciate all the tips. I just overwhelmed that people are donating money to me. Fucking hell. I talk shy. Talk fish. But look, I'm gonna try and get Mick back on the channel that we've had on a couple of times. Michael's a good lad. going to try to get gas back on. I'm going to try to get a few new faces on the channel as well. If they don't do it, talk solo. But there's obviously I like a bit of controversy between me and the lads. You know, I might get a few lassies on as well. You know, it's always good to get a female voice as well. So it's crucial. But let me know about the microphone, how the sound the microphone is. Obviously, the phone's back as well. A crystal clear camera compared to the last shite phone I have here. But yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna fancy 18 points. Gonna fancy a treble as well. I'm gonna fancy three more signings in this window. I think there will be four going out. Four players will go out. Scott Robinson will leave the club, as he's kind of hinted. He's going to go to Fleetwood. I can see Stephen Welch moving on to somewhere. Itaguchi go back to Japan, and I can see James McCarthy going on loan. That's what I think. You know, there we go. My valuation of him is 3-5 million, but I think the club will accept 25 million for him. 25 million will be perfect. I know Torino are looking at 17 million. I won't be happy with 17 million. I just don't think. I think it's a downgrade to be going from like a club of 60,000 fans, rich history, European Cup winners, to a club that haven't won a league in 50 years. Like mid-table Italian team. Like go to Bologna or something, mate. Don't be going to Torino. Fuck that. But no, I think Jovanovic would be mad to go there. I know they're probably offering superior wages, but Torino's is a club. You know, Joe Hart had a stint there on loan. No, definitely not. As I said, if it's a case that he was getting linked with an Inter Milan or AC Milan or one of the Rome teams, you know, be pretty decent. You know. Yeah, 12 million. I just think it's, you know, I won't be happy with that, to be honest. Barry, be lucky to go and get 15 million on 20. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you know, like some people say, look, you bought for 2.5 million. Anything plus 10 is still, you know, it's a big profit. But I think with his qualities, his experience, now I think we should be pushing the market, especially if it's a big club, pushing the market to be going for like a 25 million. And I know some people might think that's ludicrous talk, but it's the way the market's gone in modern day football. Premier League teams coming in, you gotta sit back and say, here, look, I'm accepting that bid. He's done it with Tierney, took him 3 bids to get Tierney out of the line, you know. Exactly, depends who wants him. You know, I think Celtic should hold their horses. He's one game left in the Euros, the World Cup, and see where it goes. You know. You were saying, I was saying a couple of weeks ago, accept 10 million, but overall, I think 25 million. I really believe. I just think the performance levels he's put in the World Cup. You look at the bigger perspective, like, you know, free kick taker, going to converting penalties, international for Croatia. You know, 27 years of age. You know, Champions League experience in there. Part of a title winning team, you know, like there's all them perks in there, all them perks that would enhance his valuation. So I know, gotta change your mind sometimes, you know, that's the whole point, you know. Sometimes I did say 10. I just looked at him over the World Cup and I put his valuation up like everyone's been talking. So yeah, Giakoumakis, I think there's talks of Giakoumakis going for 6 to 7 million. I think Giakoumakis, I think we'd be lucky to get 7 million from him. You know, you know, you look at his history as well. Top goal scorer in the Eredivisie. He scored 22 goals before he went to Celtic. Bought him for little to none. 2.5 million. Yeah. The price is more saying now, like it. That's it. Back it up. Back the truck up. Let Lawwell back the truck up and let him get us the 25 million. If we get 15 million from him, it's not the end of the world. As I said, anything off, you know, that's it, Jimmy. And that's the sad thing about it, you know, that's what the media does. The media stores these players up. Like, look at Harry Maguire, Jack Grealish, look at the fees they went for. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. See what happens with Jovanovic, you know. Tell you one thing, that Croatia kit was absolutely gorgeous the other night as well. I know, completely off the topic, but the Croatia kit, that away kit was lovely. I liked it. It reminded me a bit of the Dublin colours, to be honest. Except it was a bit more navy. Good to see you, Ross. I hope you're well. 27 people watching, folks. Yeah. Croatia weren't choice, just, this Croatia are an aging team, Brozovic, Modric, Perisic, Lovren. This is a golden generation of Croatian players, and they've hit their years, and they're gonna move on. And look at Modric, 37, still bossing around like fucking, what a player. What a player. So yeah. Just hoping. Oh, they do. They overrate look, come on, for God's sake. They overrate everyone big time, man. Look, I'm glad it didn't happen. I'm glad they didn't win the World Cup, because you wouldn't hear the end of it. I don't know, but I know we have Celtic fans that are from England and support Celtic, and they do want to support Celtic, I just, we're all one family. Just find it a bit weird, if you're living in England and we should not pick an English team, Some people say to me, why did you never pick a League of Ireland team? Well, just because my family got me into Celtic, simple as that. Flip a coin for the final. I think Argentina. Overall, France are a good team. They've better out-and-out players. France have the experience of getting the World Cup final, doing well in the Euro final as well. There's talks of Benzema is meant to be flying over there to play the final. Bit crazy. Olivier Giroud has been remarkable for the French team. 36 years of age, pretty good player. And Giroud's been class. See what happens. But our focus is on Saturday. Our focus is getting up to Pittodrie, putting on a show. We starting on for Saturday would be Hart and goal, right back Ralston, left back Taylor, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Colin McGregor, Rio Atate, Matt O'Reilly, James Forrest on the right, ahead of Abada, Jota on the left, and then up front, Kyogo. Even though I love to see Giakoumakis start, I'd say it's going to be Kyogo. That's what I'm going to go for. They're very similar. The both of them have been very similar in the World Cup. The both of them been, like, some games Argentina have been woeful to watch. They have been, So same with France, they've been woeful to watch some games. But look, it'll be a very stale game, and there will be 1 or 2 goals in it. Big time. So let me know in the comments below as well who your starting lineup will be for the game at Pittodrie. It's Aberdeen's always a tough place to go. Messi's played well. Messi in the last game was remarkable against Croatia. That's a good Messi performance. I haven't seen that in a good few years out. I don't watch the French league. Any more news on Chogui's son? Nothing so far. Just his dad has came out and said that he wants him to go to Europe. Werner Vars were linked with him. Rennes were linked with him. Borussia Dortmund have ran out. That's dismissed that speculation. Celtic being linked to him. Looks like a really good player. Obviously in his early 20s, played well in the K League. I think he scored 24 goals last season in 46 appearances in the K League and the Asian Champions League as well. Been capped for South Korea. I think he's been capped for South Korea 29 times, if you could correct me. So yeah, he looks like a decent player. That is probably his agent. So yeah. We've had a good few South Korean players at Celtic. Ki Sung-young, he was a good bit of business. I remember getting him in, and the long shot, the goals he scored for us. He scored in the Scottish Cup final against Motherwell. Scored in a good few European games for us as well. Ki did. Ki was good. The only thing about Ki was, he didn't have that temperament about him. The only thing he missed, like when you had Wanyama in there, where Wanyama and Lenny were just hardcore. Ki was just real, slick with the ball. Wanyama just stuck in. I'll go with your team, but I have to replace Kyogo with Giakoumakis. It just depends what's going on in the background. I don't know if this, it could be just all paper talk to get Giakoumakis a move. But at the end of the day, if Giakoumakis wants a move, he's got to keep scoring goals to make his reputation. Put his valuation up. That's the way it works. Consistency will get you a better chance of a move. Some players that don't even get chances at all just get moves anyway. Look at Christopher Julian. Christopher Julian's doing phenomenal at the moment in France. I'm delighted for him. He's delighted. He's captained his team a couple of times. Montpellier, I think it is. Yeah, he's done really well, Julian. And it just didn't work on their Ange. And Julian, scored in that Scottish League Cup final for us. That game where we should have been beaten 5 or 6-0, and Fraser Foster stopped. So it's done well for Julian. I'm sure we said this time last year, the majority of people were like, we put Julian ahead of Starfelt, but Starfelt obviously grew into Ange's plans and he's settled in and, 2 goals already this season. So it's been pretty well. What do you think? If someone's asked me this question before, Kevin, I don't think now listen to Alistair Johnson the other night. Alistair Johnson said he can play that 3 at the back. He's Aspilicueta. He kind of compared himself to. I don't think Ange will change his system, to be honest. I think Ange is, he just has a system he likes using, but it wouldn't be a bad idea going 3-5-2. Having Taylor and Johnson as a, them wing backs and maybe playing Starfelt, Carter Vickers and Jens in there and pushing them up as wing backs. But then you're losing out on your Abadas or your Jotas as well. It's a bit of a headache, it really is. But see what happens. Treble, yeah. Why not? I've been calling treble since start of November. I'm pretty confident that Celtic can do a treble. If they don't do a treble, snip the record and laugh at me. We have the best squad in Scottish football. We're playing the best football. We have a settled squad. We're champions. We're at the holders of the League Cup as well. We got Kyogo scoring. We got Giakoumakis scoring. We're at the adding the additions in the last couple of weeks. We have a good goalkeeper. We have a good centre backs. We have a good few internationals playing as well. Callum McGregor's back. We done well without Callum, and that was our biggest fear. I thought if Callum's out for 3 or 4 months, they'll screw the league. But he's going to be back for us, and hopefully starts on Saturday against Aberdeen at Tawdry. It would be really good. How's it going, Timmy? Hope you're all well. I've a bet the treble. Testing fate there. I just don't bet stuff like that. Just hopefully it happens. But look, everyone's different, don't we? It'd be interesting. Obviously we have Kilmarnock in the League Cup semi-final, and then the winner I think is Aberdeen. Is it Aberdeen and Rangers in the other semi-final? Could be wrong, but yeah, never know. Yeah, it is Aberdeen and Rangers in the other semi-final at Hampden. But yeah, see what happens. Hopefully we can smash Kilmarnock, because I always remember that final against Kilmarnock in 2012, the day after Paddy's Day. I was at that final at Hampden, and oh god, it gives you bad memories. I don't touch Hampden Park, folks. Bad record. 3 times I've been to Hampden, we've lost, so I don't go near Hampden. It's not a place for me. Definitely not. Full steam ahead. Hopefully. Thanks very much as well for subscribing to the channel as well, folks. So, folks, I'm going to leave it there. That's been almost an hour. I'm going to try to get people on to obviously get the podcast flowing. Hopefully I haven't bored you to death. I really appreciate the donations as well. To me, I'm really grateful. They be put into maybe a new ring light or something, equipment. Any donations to be put back into the page. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. God bless. Hell.